the Israeli Prime Minister welcomed Prime Minister Modi when he had gone there in 2017. During this trip, it is expected that firstly, there will be many important talks that are on agenda, a bilateral between the two leaders, and also it is expected that many defense, technological and business decisions will be taken during this visit. And very importantly, that address to Knesset that Prime Minister Modi will give, as he will become the first Indian Prime Minister to address the Israel's parliament. We had recently seen Donald Trump there addressing the parliament of Israel, and now it will be the Indian Prime Minister who will address the Knesset. So that will be a historic moment for India and Israel's partnership. As the Prime Minister lands there, we bring you the live visual. Joining us now is India Today Global's Pranay Upadhyay. Pranay, we can see that the plane has landed and preparations are being made. The red carpet is being rolled out as we all await. As we await the Prime Minister's descent, and as you can see on the screen, live visuals coming in from the international airport in Tel Aviv, as the stairs are heading straight for the official plane of the Prime Minister. Last minute preparations as the plane lands there. Remember, we were talking about the importance of this trip for both the countries. It is significant. It is a key visit between the two tall leaders who have made it a sort of a personal agenda to further the relationship between the two nations. As India had maintained distance historically from Israel, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, that policy sort of changed. And joining us now is India Today's Aishwarya Paliwal. Aishwarya, we can see on our screens the live visuals coming in from Tel Aviv as the plane has landed over there, and very soon we can expect the door to open and Prime Minister to come as the welcoming party gathers there down there for him to come. Now, do tell us, we've seen every time Prime Minister Modi has gone, last time that he went there, 2017, he has been accorded a grand welcome by the Prime Minister of Israel. We can expect this time also a warm welcome, a grand welcome?
Well, definitely. Anjali, one of the things that we should remember is the fact that the hexagon, that is something that Benjamin Netanyahu has spoken about, and he has said to make sure that the radical forces in West Asia, they remain under control. That's the reason why they also want India to be a part of the hexagon alliance. This is the word that has been coined by Benjamin Netanyahu, and we have seen over the past many years the kind of relationship that India has shared with Israel. In fact, Prime Minister Modi has been pushing for Atmanirbhar Bharat, and one of the sectors that he very keenly has been speaking about is the defense sector. So let me tell you, one of the key things that we will see a conversation that will actually happen between India and Israel is the defense conversation. The ties that India wants, the deepening of that is something that India will very keenly be looking at. We need to have our own Iron Dome kind of a structure. That is something that Prime Minister spoke from the ramparts of the Red Fort, and the conversation will carry on from here. We will see the conversation going forward from here. Prime Minister Modi will be speaking about it, and also what the government has been focusing on, the long-range precision missiles that Israel has. The technology transfer obviously is something that India has been pushing for over the past many years. The other things that they will be very keenly speaking about is the fact that they want the manufacturing also to now shift in India. So those will be the key things that will be discussed. The other important thing is the long delayed FTA. See, India and Israel, both of them have been trying to make sure that all the roadblocks in the FTA, they all get cleared as soon as possible. So the long-awaited FTA is also something that we will see being discussed between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Right, absolutely. And talking about the defense deals that you were mentioning, Aishwarya, it is reported that approximately $8.6 billion worth of defense deals might fructify between the two nations. Now, that is a huge number. But post Operation Sindoor, India has decided to invest in that. So, do tell us what kind of defense and strategic partnership can we expect between the two countries?
Well, from India's point of view, one of the things that India has been pushing for is not just the tech part of it, but also manufacturing. That is something that India very keenly has been looking at, because the Defense Ministry also believes that at the moment, the only sphere where India lags behind is the manufacturing part. That is something that they want to start doing as soon as possible. We could see industries coming up, not just in Uttar Pradesh, but also in different states. So
Right.
all those are some
Aishwarya,
of...
you know, Shivani Sharma also joins us, and she has been covering defense for a very long time. So I'll take the same question to you, Shivani. Your experience tells us, what does it tell us as far as the defense partnership between the two countries is concerned? Because this visit might hold the key for it as we try and expand our arsenal.
See, Anjali, when it comes to Israel, India is a very important defense partner. And from Israel, we've been procuring Heron Israeli drones. We've been procuring the Barak 8 missile systems, the AWACS, and much more. And now when Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced the Sudarshan Chakra, the India's very own air shield, there will be discussions on the laser technologies that make the Iron Dome of Israel one of the strongest air shields in the world. So certainly when Prime Minister Narendra Modi Anjali has landed in Israel, he has been welcomed at the Ben Gurion Airport. And from here, he will be heading to Jerusalem, where he will be addressing the Israeli parliament for the first time. He will be the first Prime Minister of the country to address the Israeli parliament. And this means that Israel not only values India as a strong partner, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi as a strong world leader. So when it comes to defense, certainly there are ties between India and Israel, but there's much more to the spectrum of this visit, Anjali, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be taking on the discussions when it comes to the security, the technology, the intelligence sharing, the laser technologies, the business with both the countries, taking the FTA agreements ahead to increase the bilateral trade between both the countries. So certainly, defense is one focal point, but there are so many other issues which will be discussed during this visit.
Right, Shivani and Aishwarya continue to be with us as Prime Minister Modi is about to land there. And importantly, as we see, the Israeli Prime Minister and his wife are set to welcome Prime Minister Modi as he disembarks. Shivani, do tell us, I was speaking to Aishwarya also about this, you know, there is warmth as far as the relationship of the two leaders is concerned. And we've seen a significant change in terms of the two countries' relationship because of the two individuals also. And this personal welcome that Prime Minister Netanyahu is according to Prime Minister Modi, and it is always reciprocated also. So why is it important?
Anjali, it's very important because, you know, Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, has been saying that PM is not only a diplomatic counterpart, but a personal friend to him. The kind of gesture Israel is welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi when Prime Minister Netanyahu will be along with his wife to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We've seen these world leaders traveling together in a single car. They've been sharing these ties more than the diplomatic ties. So it means a lot. It means how the world's perception towards India has been changing in the past few years. How India happens to be one of the important leaders of the global south, important voice of the global south, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been speaking to the Prime Minister of Israel since the conflict has been on. India has been a very strong voice of solidarity for Israel, and so is Israel for India. Be it the Pahalgam attack, be it the 26/11 terror attack. Since then, Israel has been voicing its concerns on the terrorism that India has been fighting since decades now, Anjali. So it's all the more important that it's not only a diplomatic visit, it is much more than that, because the body language, the kind of statements that have been exchanged by the Israeli Prime Minister for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they mean a lot. They mean that India is being perceived as a strong voice of the global south, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi happens to be a very strong leader. and he's been welcomed as a special gesture in Israel by the Prime Minister out there. He'll be meeting the President also. He'll be meeting the Indians in Israel. He will be addressing the Parliament for the first time, the Knesset there in Jerusalem. He'll be holding key meetings. So all this shows that India is being valued as a strong partner, a strong leader of the global South, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be meeting multiple leaders out there to discuss not only economics, but also defense, security, intelligence sharing, and people-to-people ties between India and Israel. Anjali.
Absolutely. And as we see these visuals coming in and the grand welcome that we were talking about, the warm welcome that is expected to be given to Prime Minister Modi is set to happen as the Prime Minister of Israel has already arrived at the airport. But also importantly, as Shivani, you were just mentioning, that Prime Minister Modi will be addressing Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament. And we have recently seen some very senior leaders doing the same. Trump was there a few days back where he addressed the Knesset. But this would be the first time that an Indian Prime Minister is doing so. So can you tell us the importance of it in terms of also the prestige value attached to it, and also how it brings to fore the deep relationship that is developing between the two countries?
Anjali, see, when we see Donald Trump speaking in Israeli Knesset, it has a different a meaning and a value. But when Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks there, he happens to be the first Indian Prime Minister or the first Indian leader, in fact, a leader for the first time from Asia who is speaking in the Israeli Knesset. It means a lot, certainly. It shows that how Israel has been valuing India and its strategic partnership. It has been valuing the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been speaking to Israeli Prime Minister. He's been exchanging statements. He's been in touch with the Israeli Prime Minister, not only right now when it comes to the defense ties and strategic ties, but also remember last year when there was a conflict between Iran and Israel. India was in constant touch with Israel, and it was in full support of Israel. And that's why whenever the Israeli Prime Minister speaks about Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he speaks with great reverence and with great value. And when he will be speaking in the Israeli parliament, it will be a great message to the world that how India's stature is growing when it comes to be a very strong voice of the global South, when it comes to be in the role of a peacemaker. Remember, Anjali, India has always called for peace. It has always called for a peaceful resolution and dialogues when it comes to the disputes that have been seen in the world, the conflicts that have been ongoing between Israel and Iran. So when Prime Minister will be speaking in the Knesset, certainly it will be a larger meaning, it will be a larger message. And it cannot be compared to what Donald Trump speaks in the
Shivani,
Knesset.
I'll just interrupt you a little bit over here because we are getting visuals of Netanyahu there with his wife. As we can hear that the preparations of the welcome have already begun.
המשמר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, שקט.
So there on your screens, as the Prime Minister of Israel and his wife have arrived at the international airport, awaiting the arrival of the Prime Minister of India. He is set to disembark and a warm welcome is to be accorded to him. And there on your screens right now, the door set to open as Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi begins his visit to Israel, a landmark and historic visit after the 2017 visit that he had gone for. Almost 9 years later, he's once again there to visit Israel and to work on several agendas, whether it is defense, whether it is diplomatic relations, whether it is the field of research, science, agriculture. The Prime Minister is there to meet the Israeli Prime Minister for bilateral talks, and also there is a whole agenda that has been developed for the Prime Minister. And in just a few moments, we can expect the Indian Prime Minister to disembark. as already Prime Minister Netanyahu and his wife are there on the tarmac to welcome India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And this visit marks a historic event, which is going to be an address that is going to be delivered by the Indian Prime Minister to the Israeli parliament, which is called the Knesset. Apart from that, Prime Minister Modi will also be visiting Israel's Holocaust Museum, where he will pay his respects and lay a wreath in the Hall of Remembrance. He shall also be meeting up with the President of Israel. A packed agenda, a packed timetable for the Indian Prime Minister as he undertakes a historic visit to Israel. And there on your screens, Prime Minister Modi is now disembarking, his hands folded in a namaste.
המשמר יעבור לדום. משמר, דום!
So the Indian Prime Minister has finally touched down on the tarmac and being welcomed there by the Israeli Prime Minister and his wife. A team of media persons there capturing the moment up close as the two tall leaders meet warmly, shake hands and a hug there between the two leaders. And this, as you can see, the welcome by the Prime Minister and his wife, and he proceeds to meet the Indian officials as well as the Israeli officials who are there to welcome him. An extremely important visit, as Prime Minister Modi is introduced to all the officials who are there to welcome him one by one, along with the Israeli Prime Minister there. And the Prime Minister is walking the red carpet along with the Israeli Prime Minister. And now photo opportunity for the two leaders to showcase the warmth and the friendship between the two nations and the two individual leaders as well. The Prime Minister is walking down the red carpet, flanked by the Prime Minister of Israel and senior military officials, as he lands in Tel Aviv for an extremely important and historic visit. The two leaders are being shown to certain marked places for photo opportunity.
Check! המשמר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, צ'ק!
So these are visuals coming in live from Israel as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been welcomed to Tel Aviv by the Prime Minister of Israel and his wife.
משמר כבוד של חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, ערוך ונכון לסקירתך. אדוני.
The Prime Minister and the Israeli Prime Minister there on the screens.
המשמר ידגל את נשקו. דגל, צ'ק! המשמר יחטיף את נשקו. החטף, צ'ק!
As the initial welcome is according to the Prime Minister, the two leaders meeting. They did a sort of a little walk around where the Prime Minister of Israel met up with the rest of the delegation that is accompanying Prime Minister Modi. We saw the External Affairs Minister over there. The NSA is also accompanying the Prime Minister, and they all were welcomed by the Prime Minister. And now it is expected that before heading to Jerusalem, the two leaders will sit down for an initial meeting at the airport itself. At the lounge in the airport itself, there will be a short meeting. This meeting is extremely crucial as the two leaders sit down immediately and get down to the agenda as Prime Minister Modi lands down in Tel Aviv. This meet is expected to cover bilateral plus regional and global issues. The two leaders, as you just saw them on the tarmac, as they were welcomed with the national anthem of the two countries being played. First, it was India's national anthem, and then afterwards, it was Israel's national anthem, which is called The Hope. which basically expresses the message of this wish of the Israelis to be in their homeland forever. And the Prime Minister stood there and paid his respect to the national anthem of India and then the Israel. After that, there was a short walk that the two leaders engaged in while inspecting the Guard of Honor. And then later, the Prime Minister Modi directed Prime Minister Israel towards his delegation, and he shook hands with the rest of the delegations, which basically, as we saw, had the NSA, the External Affairs Minister, and many other senior people who will be involved in the bilateral and the talks that will happen. And once again, we bring you the visuals of when the Prime Minister landed in Tel Aviv, and as he was welcomed by Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife, and later he proceeded to shake hands with all the military leaders also present over there. And remember, this is an extremely important visit for India and Israel as well. Defense ties are high on agenda. After Operation Sindoor, India has focused significantly on expanding its defense arsenal, and Israel is one of its key allies and strategic partners when it comes to defense procurement. It is believed that during this visit, there will be significant push as far as building and escalating the ties between the two countries is concerned. Will India get some key arms and ammunition and missiles that we expect? Will there be a deeper tie between the two countries? Definitely the warmth between the two leaders as Prime Minister Modi landed over there is something that everyone notices. Even the last time the Prime Minister was there, which was in 2017, Prime Minister Netanyahu had come to the tarmac to personally welcome Prime Minister Modi. And once again, Prime Minister Netanyahu is back at the tarmac with his team and along with him, with his wife, to welcome Prime Minister Modi. Now, after this welcome, it is expected that before heading to Jerusalem, the two leaders will sit down for an initial meeting at the airport itself at the Fatah Lounge. It is expected that the two leaders will have a sort of a free-flowing discussion on various issues, which could be covering bilateral issues, regional issues, and even global issues. This relationship that we see between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is extremely warm and friendly. And joining us now is India Today's Shivani Sharma. Shivani, the moment has come when Prime Minister Modi landed, and of course the welcome that we were talking about, that happened, a warm welcome, not just the Prime Minister but his wife as well, to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Israel. It is also expected that there might be an initial meeting between the two leaders, a sort of a free-flowing dialogue between the two. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Anjali, what we are getting through the sources is that there is a meeting right at the airport where he has been received, where at the Ben Gurion Airport, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been received by the Israeli Prime Minister and his wife. There will be a brief meeting out there with the officials, and thereafter they will be moving to Jerusalem. That happens to be the official headquarters of the government of Israel. And the Israeli parliament will be addressed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So as soon as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Israel, he's been welcomed there. We can see these gestures, these pictures where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is being warmly welcomed by PM and his wife. We see this exchange of statements, this laughter out there. This shows that there is much more than an official visit that has already now started in Israel with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Israeli PM. And now they will be holding a small meeting. We can also say that the bilateral has already begun with these visits where the Prime Minister has been welcomed by the PM of Israel. He will be meeting the officials, and thereafter they will be moving to the Israeli Knesset, where Prime Minister will be addressing the Parliament of Israel for the first time. So this is how this 2-day visit, that is a very important and a very crucial visit, has already begun. The schedule is quite expansive. We see that there are a number of meetings which are there, which are scheduled for the 2 days. Not only the Prime Minister's meeting, the bilateral meeting that will be conducted today itself, but the president, the meeting of the president and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that will also happen. He'll be meeting the key officials in Israel. He will be holding meeting with the Indian community out there. He will be going to the place where the Holocaust had happened in the 2023 October. That museum he will be visiting. So there are a number of engagements through these 2 days where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be discussing upon a number of issues of bilateral agreements with Israel. He will be discussing the strategic partnership with Israel, the defense cooperation with Israel, how India is moving ahead to build its own Iron Dome, the Sudarshan Chakra, and how Israel can
Right.
contribute in this particular Darshan Chakra technology, because there will be discussions on the laser technologies too. We see that Iron Dome of Israel, that happens to be one of the world's best air shields, how it can contribute to India and its own Sudarshan Chakra. So there is a whole lot of engagement lined up for the day and also for tomorrow, Anjali. But certainly this happens to be a very important and a crucial visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi after 2017. So this is coming after 9 years, where PM will be not only meeting counterparts in Israel, but also be addressing the interest for both the nations.
Right. Shivani, if we talk about the ties that the two countries have had, it's extremely important to understand them because till 1992, India had very limited diplomatic ties with Israel. But post 1999, they sort of jumped. There was a escalation. There was this intensity that we saw between the two nations. And now, in the last few years, with Prime Minister Modi at the helm, especially, there has been a very deepening of ties, a very strategic deepening of ties between the two. So do try and explain the historic aspect of it.
See, India has been an important strategic partner when it comes to the diplomatic ties since 1990. Israel. Since then, the ties have gone many-fold, especially when it comes to the defense exchanges. India has been the major defense importer for Herons, for missile systems, the Barak 8 missile systems, the AWACS, the counter-drone systems on which India is moving ahead. And in last 3 decades, Anjali, there has been the strengthening of these ties with Israel, especially when it comes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he took over as a Prime Minister in 2014. Since then, there has been a substantial increase in the defense partnership, the cooperation between India and Israel in the number of fields, be it education, be it innovation, be it technology, be it intelligence sharing. Israel is to be a nation which has an excellent intelligence sharing framework towards this, and this partnership has grown, especially in last 2 decades, with a number of exchanges that are military exchanges. There are exercises that are going on. There are technological exchanges that take place between India and Israel. And especially in last few years, when Israel has seen the conflict, the kind of support India has rendered to Israel has been the strengthening of ties between India and Israel. And so goes for Israel also, Anjali. We've seen that how Israel has been standing in solidarity with India when it comes to India's fight against terror. So we've seen since in 26/11 when the terror attacks had happened in Mumbai. Since then,
Right.
Israel has been.
Right. Right, Shivani. Also joining us is India Today's Global's Pranay Upadhyay. Pranay, you know, extremely important visit. I mean, that's to say the least. But let's begin from the top. Let's begin with the welcome, you know, the warm hug, the respect that is accorded by one prime minister to another, and also the fact that the wife has also accompanied to welcome the prime minister. Tell us a little bit, take us through the welcome and also the importance of the ties between the two countries.
Absolutely, Anjali. This clearly shows the warmth in relationship. The gesture extended by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu clearly shows that how special is this partnership for India and Israel, and how he was there on the tarmac along with his his wife Sarah Netanyahu to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he almost walked up to the stairs and on the tarmac to welcome Prime Minister Modi. They hugged each other. They shook hands with each other, and this clearly shows that Prime Minister Netanyahu accords a special welcome to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is a 26-hour visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Israel, and both the leaders wanted to use maximum of this visit, their meetings, and in fact their conversation started from the tarmac only. And in fact, if you see how Prime Minister Narendra Modi introduced his delegation along with India's Foreign Minister Dr. Jai Shankar, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, and how Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met them, and besides that, how the Tri-Service Guard of Honor extended to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this clearly shows that India's and Israel's strategic partnership is going to take another leap, another fresh chapter of a new chapter will be added with this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But what all will be there on the agenda, what all will be there on the table of the discussion and delegation level talks between these two leaders when they would be meeting tomorrow. If you see in 26 hours how the defense and strategic partnership of India and Israel is going to take a new flight. Besides that, how the operationalization of various agreements can be channelized, how the defense and strategic partnership, how the partnership of critical and emerging technologies, because this is a win-win partnership between India and Israel. And why we are saying so? Because India needs technology and innovation from Israel. And what India brings to table, it's skill and scale. Israel needs skill and scale to maximize, to amplify its production, and therefore Israel is also one of the important votary and important supporter of India's Make in India program, and therefore in terms of the critical and emerging technology, be it artificial intelligence, be it the anti-drone warfare, be it the quantum computing or cyber security techniques, these are the areas where India and Israel would be partnering. Besides that, we know that a high-level Indian defense delegation is currently in Israel. They had a meeting of India's small and medium-scale defense manufacturers, because they want to partner with Israel, and India is also aspiring to become a potential defense exporter. We want to expand our defense export, and we want to collaborate with Israel on that. Besides that, the IMAC corridor, how the politics of West Asia is taking shape, how their churning is there. Right. India want to come as a partner, as a stakeholder in this West Asia electoral, the political process, and that's why Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Israel, he would be talking about all these things when he would be addressing the Knesset, the Israeli parliament.
We'll be keeping an eye on that as he addresses the parliament within a few hours. It's time for a short break now. On the other side, we keep bringing you more news updates.
You are watching India Today.
Introducing Motorola's signature.
तुमने नौकरी छोड़ दी, अब आगे क्या प्लान है?
फुल टाइम म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन।
बेटा, इतने में घर कैसे चलेगा?
पापा, मेरे पास 150 क्लाइंट्स ऑलरेडी हैं और नए क्लाइंट्स मिलते रहते हैं। अब नौकरी छोड़कर फुल टाइम म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर ही बनूंगा। आप भी मेरी तरह म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बन सकते हैं। जानिए कैसे? mfdkarishuru.com पर। तो करें शुरू?
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress he stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCRT book Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
हर सेम से
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress he stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCRT book Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
AI revolution, I think, in the short term will accelerate the crisis. Yeah. Because there will be a problem. I mean, it's all very well for all these AI tech companies to come to India and say, we're going to make 100 billion Indians AI friendly in the next few years. It's going to take time. It is extremely difficult, therefore, to bridge this AI divide that Sundar Pichai spoke about overnight. So there is going to be disruption.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress he stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCRT book Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress. He stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCERT book Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
LIC हर पल आपके साथ.
Hello and welcome. You're with 5 Live. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. As we speak, the Prime Minister has landed in Israel. This is a 2-day visit, which is very, very critical. But what exactly makes it so important? Over the next half an hour, we'll try and decode that. And then in the second half of the program, we talk about something absolutely important. We keep talking about HPV vaccines in girls. But do boys also need it? After all, it is one that is transmitted with contact. The whole decoding of understand whether or not an HPV vaccine is meant for your boys. Explainer on that coming up in the second half of the program. First up, let's take you through all the top headlines at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in Israel for a crucial 2-day visit, a first since Gaza war began. Both the Prime Ministers are expected to hold talks on defense, technology and trade. From possible Iron Dome collaboration to fast-tracking the FTA, the visit carries significant strategic weight and is being closely watched, even globally. After NCERT's new Class 8 book listed corruption in judiciary, a massive backlog as well as challenge, preparations are underway to remove the portion that sparked controversy. Government sources are now telling us that the portion will be removed. This after CJI Suryakant reportedly stressed that the court won't allow anyone to defame the institution. Prime Minister Modi to visit Madurai on the 1st of March, likely to offer prayers there at the Murugan temple amid the Deepam Rao. Ahead of Prime Minister's Sanatan push, DMK hits out at him, says Prime Minister's repeated visits may actually result in a big defeat for the NDA alliance. Expelled AIADMK leader Sasikala floats a new party ahead of polls. She also unveils a party flag that features portraits of the Dravidian icons CN Anadurai, MG Ramachandran and even Jai Lalita. The TTV Dinakarans mocked the Aunt Sasikala's political party launch, also likens it to instant sambar or instant idli. Now, hours after 7 people lost their lives in Jharkhand air tragedy, shocking details emerge that the Redbird Airways Private Limited, the Beechcraft C-90, has crashed in Jharkhand, had no black box at all. Now, according to civil aviation rules, cockpit voice records or flight data records are not mandated for aircraft with maximum takeoff weight below 5,700 kg. So now, will the mystery never be solved? In Goa's Asagaon, a speeding Thar has rammed into a car near Happy Bar Junction, killing 65-year-old tourist from Bhopal on the spot. The video shows the accused stepping out moments after the crash. Eyewitnesses claim there was an attempt to switch seats after the accident, and the police are now investigating the exact sequence of events. Days after 3 women from Arunachal Pradesh were racially abused in Delhi's Malviya Nagar, the accused woman has been now arrested. Chief Minister of Delhi, Rekha Gupta, on the other hand, has also met with them and has assured action. Meanwhile, updates coming in as a setback for Kerala Story 2 filmmakers. The Kerala High Court has put a stay on the release of the contentious movie for now, citing that the grievances by the complaints appear genuine. No release of the film till the court decides on the petition now. Bill Gates has apologized to foundation staff on Epstein ties, says it was a huge mistake. According to an exclusive report by the Wall Street Journal, Gates has also told employees during the town hall that he did nothing illicit and saw nothing illicit as well. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Sindoor lies are busted yet again. Donald Trump reveals Pakistan Prime Minister pleaded to stop the war. The US President also says that Pakistan PM pleaded 35 million people will die, reiterated that he stopped India-Pakistan war. For over 7 decades, India and Israel existed in a kind of deliberate distance. Diplomatic ties withheld, public solidarity with Palestine maintained, and arms deal conducted very quietly in the shadows. And then in 2017, Prime Minister Modi did something no Indian Prime Minister had ever done before. He landed in Tel Aviv. The walk on the beach with Benjamin Netanyahu, both of them barefoot, trousers rolled up, was just a photo op. And it was actually that went on after that was a signal to the world that a new chapter has begun. As we speak, Prime Minister Modi is back. His second visit to Israel happening right now as we speak on the 25th and 26th of February 2026 comes at perhaps the most geopolitically loaded moment in the relationship that has been the intense history that the two nations share. What also is on talks right now is that a lot has happened. Gaza, Iran, Pakistan. So there's a lot to be unpacked from this visit. And what exactly does this visit really mean for you and me? What's on the table? What does India actually gain from standing so close to Israel right now? Let's break down all of this with our experts. But as we speak, let me give you a quick update. Prime Minister landed just moments ago. He has been greeted there by the Prime Minister and his wife himself. We heard national anthems from both the countries. So this is a very statesman and very high degree welcome that we have seen as well. Take a glimpse of how it went.
That's real. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back. No great affair. Oh. This is you.
Wow.
How are you? You see what you want? Look at the
yes,
color.
Thank you. I'm so happy. And I miss India. Welcome back. So wonderful country.
It's a wonderful leader.
I know. It's because of you. It was wonderful.
And welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Welcome.
My pleasure. That's real. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back. No great affair. Oh. This is you.
Wow.
How are you? You see what you want? Look at the
yes,
color.
Thank you. I'm so happy. And I miss India. Welcome back. So wonderful country.
It's a wonderful leader.
I know. It's because of you. It was wonderful.
And welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, so that was a very warm welcome that you saw Prime Minister Modi get over there, and both the Prime Ministers changing greetings, and also talked about how Prime Minister's pocket square actually matched with his wife's outfit as well. Welcome, my friend, were the words over there. But this meeting is more than just camaraderie, more than just pictures. There's a lot at stake, both on the defense side and also on the geopolitical side as well. So we thought on this broadcast, while we keep bringing you live updates on what's happening in Israel, let's also decode all of that with you. I'm very glad to have somebody who actually understands all of this in great detail, both from the defense side. Gaurav Sawant is here with us in the studio. Also with me is Pranay Upadhyay, who understands all the geopolitics behind that in great details as well. But like he said, we'll keep dipping into all these pictures that are coming in live to us from Israel. So Prime Minister just landed. He has gone straight for a tete-a-tete. This is a conversation that's happening between the two prime ministers. And after that photo op is when they proceed further. In the evening, he will be addressing the Israeli parliament as well. That's going to be a significant one, and we'll see what actually is said in parliament over there. But like I said, there's so much at stake. There's a rare global south endorsement that is happening as we speak. We're also looking at Israel's isolation narrative being broken. We're also looking at how the post-Operation Sindoor context actually plays out in middle of all of this. And also India's very, very balancing act. Because remember, just days before this visit, India had joined the 100 nations in condemning Israel's expansion in occupied West Bank. And now this visit comes in and he's been called a friend. So there's a lot to be decoded as we speak. Let me bring on our guests. Like I said, Gaurav Sawant is here with us. Pranay Upadhyay joins us for a global perspective. And joining us from Tel Aviv at the moment is Yonatan Adiri. He is a seasoned political strategist and former chief technology advisor to the president, and with deep ties across Israel political, diplomatic and tech circles as well. Thank you so much for your time. I will, go across to our guests here, Yonatan. While all of us look at this visit with great significance, like all those reasons that I mentioned before, the global south narrative, the post-Operation Sindoor narrative as well, defense ties and larger one on water pollution as well, that I've been very keenly watching. How is Israel looking at this visit beyond just the photo op? What is it that you get out of this relationship and in a moment like this?
So first of all, thank you very much for having me. And this is truly a historic moment. I think there are two vectors through which the Israeli public sees this and experiences Prime Minister Modi's visit. Truly historic moment. People here are waiting to hear what the Prime Minister has to say later today at the Parliament. And there are two lenses. One is the personal one, sheer admiration to Prime Minister Modi himself. What he has been able to do over the last decade in terms of marching India through a decade of phenomenal economic growth, now the third largest economy. Israelis are seeing a lot of kinship in the way in which Prime Minister Modi led India in this decade, plus vis-a-vis technology, vis-a-vis innovation. We also see and this is sort of vector number one, is the Prime Minister himself as a persona. I'm finishing publishing a book in a few weeks. It has an entire chapter about the formative leadership of Prime Minister Modi, because the Israeli public wants to learn more and to know more. That's one vector. The second vector has a lot to do with what India symbolizes for Israel. Israelis followed closely the White House national security doctrine published by President Trump a few weeks ago, as well as the Pentagon security policy. In it, India has a unique role of an independent, strong player within the greater Middle East, or what Foreign Minister Jai Shankar said a few weeks ago in Munich, the West of Asia, as he looks at Israel and our region. So we look to India as the anchor of Israel's next 20 plus years as it nears its 100 years. You know, you have your 2047, we have our 2048. That has a lot to do with defense, with an air of trust, with academia, with innovation. Israel has its diaspora, Jewish diaspora, leading companies, tech companies in the US and in Europe. It is not by chance that 10 of the leading CEOs in the biggest companies encompassing over a $10 trillion market cap are all of Indian descent at the bleeding edge. So we look at India with kinship. We look at India with a very innate and profound sense of trust. And I truly believe, and so do I would say, politicians and leaders across the political spectrum in Israel, which is really hard to do these days, are unified in understanding how critically important this visit is and the future is.
Right. A unified trust in India, something that is rare to be found in the current demographic and the current geopolitical climate. I think that's an interesting way to put it. Gaurav Sawant and Pranay is also with us. Gaurav, I have to come to you. When we talk about innate trust, you have reported extensively about what happened during Operation Sindoor as well. A lot of our tech, a lot of our defense services also were Israeli at that point that helped us catapult that entire situation, changed the way we looked at the whole situation as well. Take us through your most significant sort of takeaways and perhaps key stakes on the table here?
So I was in Israel on the 8th of October 2023, a day after the worst terror attack in Israel. And that was the time that Hamas terrorists were still inside Sderot and Eshkelon and several kibbutz that the terrorists had attacked. That's the time Israeli forces were striking back. And that's the time that Israelis actually turned around and told us that India is our most reliable strategic partner ever. And that's a big statement for Israel to make, because Israel usually is seen as extremely close to the United States of America. When it comes to India, it's people-to-people cooperation apart from government-to-government cooperation that's extremely strong. India is the only country in the world, as Jews tell us, that Jews have never been persecuted. There's no anti-Semitism in India, and this is something they really like. Strategic partnership, very close. But India has a much bigger footprint in the region. It's not just India, Israel. While it's extremely significant now, just last month, UAE's president, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, he was in India. Just before that, you had foreign ministers of all the Arab countries. They were in India. Remember, during India's G20 presidency, the entire conversation was around the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC, which passes through India, UAE, then goes across the Gulf countries, then goes to the most crucial Haifa port in Israel, and then goes into Europe, where there's talk of partnership with Greece, Cyprus, Italy, France, then across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States of America. So India, in a way, is anchoring a very, very crucial partnership with this region, in West Asia region, for peace, for stability, for dialogue. India is very close to Iran. India is very close to this entire region, and that's the effort. Cooperation with Israel, at the same time, very strong ties with other countries of the region.
Right. And also, I'll come back to you, Gaurav, and speak a little bit more about the laser weapons, the next-gen sort of drones, the anti-missile systems that we are going to talk about in this visit. But hold on to that thought, because I have Pranay also with me. And Pranay, there is this Netanyahu, hexagon strategy of alliance that we often talk about, which is what makes India a very strategic player there. Explain to our viewers what exactly is this hexagon alliance and why it is so significant.
Sonal, if you see what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to do, he's trying to build alternative alliances, alternative poles for catapulting the situation and changing the West Asia situation, changing the dynamics of the West Asian politics, and bringing the economic centers of power in that region. And that's therefore, not only the India-Middle East economic corridor, Europe economic corridor is important, but besides that, Prime Minister Netanyahu has proposed an idea of building an hexagonal alliance which includes Cyprus, which includes Greece, which includes India, which includes some of the nations from African region and Arab region. So clearly indicating that how Prime Minister Netanyahu has envisaged an idea that how India and Israel can actually change the dynamics of that entire region by building and forging a stronger economic partnership. And if you see the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC, whose foundation was basically laid in India on the sidelines of the G20 summit, is a game changer for the entire region. And India is also part of another quad in which Israel is also partner and in which there is an I2U2 quad, wherein India is there, United States, United Arab Emirates, and Israel is there. So India has always been a great votary of multipolarity and bringing the economies based on interest to come together to forge greater partnerships. And if you see, as a strong economy, as a fastest growing big economy, India comes as a great partner for Israel, and that's why this bonhomie, the bonding you see in these visuals, this is actually a friendship which brings great dividends and benefit for the mutual victory and mutual benefit for both the countries.
Right. Right. Let me go back to Jonathan on this one. Jonathan, what happens is that I'm giving you an India perspective over here, okay? And then I have a trivia. Sure. Then I have a trivia that I want to throw open for everybody here on the panel and our viewers as well. With special thanks to Pranay Upadhyay who brought it to my notice. But how India sees is we see that with China arming Pakistan, right? Pakistan-China ties deepening as well. India-Israel defense access essentially becomes like our counter-China play in a way. Right? That's how we are seeing it unfolding. Is that the right sentiment to see how Israel, in all its awareness, is sort of going ahead with this relationship as well?
Well, look, I think you're spot on, but it's bigger than that. Let me quote Prime Minister Modi's comment on Twitter, X, earlier this week, where his thoughts and plans for the visit, and I think we will hear that echoed in the speech today, are to expand this relationship beyond security and defense into a multifaceted relationship around innovation and progress. We look at India, we look at Foreign Minister Jaishankar's comments in Munich, we look at Prime Minister Modi's strategy, and we see India, buying submarines and expanding at $40 billion its Navy strategy. In the region. We are seeing the visit of Emmanuel Macron a few weeks ago and the decision to expand on the Rafale jet. So it is very clear that India is building a more resilient and broad national security strategy and military buildup as a result of Operation Sindoor. We are proud partners. We are explicit about this. When President Erdogan of Turkey supported Pakistan unequivocally during the time of Operation Sindoor, sending weapons and so on, Israel stood by India unequivocally, openly. This partnership is an anchor, if you will, as the gentleman said, the hexagon strategy, we call it the diamond strategy. India is Israel's anchor and most important regional partner in area where we thought it would be Saudi Arabia, or when we thought it could be an expansion vis-a-vis Turkey, etc. I think where the Middle East is forming in the broader sense, the region between Ethiopia, where Prime Minister Modi visited just a couple of months ago, and our president is now visiting. The region is changing shape, and we believe India will be the most important country in the broader region.
Right. That's good to know that, the sentiments really seems to be the same on both the sides. But before I move on, and I have a question for Gaurav as well, I have a little bit of trivia for everybody to sort of look through. And gentlemen, I'm going to play a music for you, a piece of music, and if my producers can up that sound really. And I want you to go back and tell me what the story is. This is a quick, trick question for Gaurav and for Pranay as well to understand what exactly is this. The hint I can give you is this, that the melody is the one that all of us in India actually grew up on. It played every morning at the crack of dawn. It is something that all our grandfathers, fathers, even I grew up to. And it has a very peculiar, and there you go, Gaurav, I hope you're listening in, because this is that piece of music that a lot of Indians woke up to for decades. And this has a peculiar Israel connection. Pranay brought it to my notice right before the broadcast, so I had to break it open for everybody. Gaurav, have you guessed what this is just yet?
This is the signature tune of All India Radio, the signature tune that all of us grew up to. There was no television when we were growing up. Television by and large came during Asian Games, and we are the pre-Asian Games generation. So every morning, 6 in the morning, when this music would come, it's by an Israeli composer in India. And if I may, when we were talking about no anti-Semitism in India, that's when people, even the Baghdadi Jews or Jews from across the world, when they came and settled in India, they've always been safest here.
Yes, Pranay, this
Almost
man is actually called Walter Kaufmann, if I'm getting that pronunciation right. And this was back in 1907. And such a beautiful, truly Indian one, but nobody, such a beautiful piece to actually bring the two relationships together, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this actually brings nostalgia in everyone of our generation, at least, because we all, woke up with this morning tune of All India Radio signature tune. And this tune is almost 90-year-old now. It was composed in 1937. And, it is still since then, it's a signature tune of All India Radio. And recently on the World Radio Day, the Indian Embassy in Israel posted this on social media as well. And in fact, this is the way that India and Israel bond. This is not a new partnership. This is not a new bond. But this goes back to centuries. This goes back to many years. And this is how we have all recalled this morning tune.
Yes, this is a quick one, and Yona didn't come in on this one because you don't have context to this tune, which now we have established for you. But when I was playing this tune out in the newsroom, everybody stood still. For a second, a very, very fiery, noisy newsroom went quiet, and they were like, where is that music coming from? And it's so nice to know the connection that it actually has. Quick thoughts on that before I go to Gaurav?
Yeah, I will say, just to resonate what Gaurav said, my personal story, my grandfather, who is Iraqi, of Iraqi descent, his family used to go back and forth from India, from Baghdad, and his family name was Naji, an Arabic name, an Arabic Jewish name, and the family name was Babu. My mother's side, original name, maiden name is that, and we have quite a heritage also in India. There are many Israelis who do, and it's true. A lot of the kinship that is felt between the peoples of our countries also has to do with that piece of our history together.
Yes. And now that history is forming, but all those good fun trivia aside, I want to come back to the major question here, and let me take that to Gaurav. Gaurav, the joint development agenda sounds very ambitious. It talks of laser weapons, it talks of next-gen drones, anti-missile system, but India, has a history of long procurement timelines as well. Is there a real plan to actually build these together? Is there a plan to import them? What exactly are we going to see beyond just the optics in this meeting?
So India-Israel clearly way, way beyond symbolism and optics, because both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, they know this is a very important strategic partnership. It's a special strategic partnership which will benefit each other and by and large benefit democracies and peace-loving world. Ironic as it may sound to some, but then, that's the civilizational philosophy of this land, that it's peace through strength. So when you talk about the Iron Dome system, remember India's anti-missile defense shield, it performed extremely well during the recent Operation Sindoor. None of the Pakistani missiles or aircraft succeeded in causing major damage on the Indian side. Why? Because we have a missile defense system. How do you improve it? How do you build on it? How do you make it even stronger? Because we have a huge, huge India-Pakistan border, India-China line of actual control. So basically, you intensify, you get a new technology. Israel has the technology, India has both size and scale. So you make in India, manufacture in India and export to the world. That is something that India wants to move forward on. We are told Israel is equally keen. There's some conversation that's already taken place. We should see some forward movement on high-tech innovation, technology, artificial intelligence, quantum computing in many, many areas. These two countries, cyber security, these two countries will be cooperating a lot more in times to come.
In times to come. Gaurav, I'm told you got to jump off and get into another very important interview, so I'll let you go for the moment. Thank you so much for your time. Let me go to Pranay next. Pranay, we were speaking earlier on the program on the key sort of geopolitical, fallouts of this meeting, or the key stakes that are on the table. One thing that we have constantly talked about is the way India is approaching this beyond just defense as well. Take me through today when the Prime Minister addresses the Parliament. What do you think are the top 3 or 4 things which will be on the top of his agenda that he takes to Israeli people?
Sonal, for long, India has been a key stakeholder in the West Asia politics and West Asia peace process as well. India recognized Palestine. India has been a key partner with Israel, and this is the strategic autonomy of India. That is the independence of Indian foreign policy as well. And this is well recognized by both Israel and Palestine, despite their differences, their conflict. But if you see, what is happening here, that why India has emerged as a key stakeholder, that we have a sizable population. We have our own concern if there is a war, warlike situation or a war breaks out between United States, Israel on one side and Iran on another side, because we have around 90 lakh Indians, working in various Gulf countries. So therefore, these issues will be on agenda, will be of concern for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take up with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to gauge the situation with what exactly is happening. And he will be holding these talks. And as Prime Minister Narendra Modi repeatedly said, that India is not, we are not on any fringe. We are rather a stakeholder, and we are the votary. We are on the side of peace. We want issues to be resolved by dialogue and diplomacy, and therefore, if we can do anything to facilitate that dialogue process, we are ready for that, because we have our people there, we have our interests there, and we are for the economic benefit of the region. We want to be a stakeholder, we want to be investor of that region, and that is also is well recognized by Israel as well. The project, the port project of Haifa, the way Israel has invited various Indian companies in the Tel Aviv Metro Rail project, the way Tel Aviv, Israel is inviting Indian infrastructure companies to partner in over $10 billion the infrastructure contracts of Israel. So clearly, Israel has extended a hand of friendship, and also this is a win-win partnership, Sonal, because India needs technology and innovation from Israel, and on the other side, India can offer scale and skill to Israel.
Yes. I want to give the last word to Jonathan on this one. Jonathan, this is also a bit of a balancing act that India has done, as I was pointing out earlier. Just days before, India joined 100 nations in actually condemning Israel's expansion in occupied West Bank. But then comes this visit, and you have the Prime Minister Netanyahu calling Prime Minister Modi his dear friend. How exactly is this balancing act being seen in Israel?
I think the most important piece is trust. Israelis recognize the nature of the strategic alignment between both countries, the kinship, and so India has I would say, a broader space, or if you will, a capacity to manage some contradictions when it comes to its relationship with Israel. Some tactical differences do not and cannot change the profound strategic alignment between both countries and the strong sense of friendship between these two people. I had the privilege of working and serving my country under President Shimon Peres, and I got to see how, in real, genuine statecraft, this relationship between the leaders really helps dictate to everybody else the direction of policy. And then maybe let me just conclude by this. For Israel, the United States is its strategic partner. And it has a special relationship with the United States. Traditionally, since the days of David Ben Gurion in 1948, Israel had, alongside its relationship with a global superpower, a strong special relationship with a regional superpower that sees things in the same way and that is aligned. And I think, and I hope that what will come out of the speech tonight and of the visit in total is the next step in our relationship will be of forming a special relationship that is reserved just for two nations in this region, that is Israel, if you will, the Indo-Abrahamic Forum, Israel, UAE, and India.
That's interesting. Jonathan, stay back with us. And for all our viewers as well, let's sort of decode and unpack in simple terms for you. If there were some 4 or 5 reasons why this entire visit is so significant, let's bring them to you next. All right? Let's try and understand and decode all of those. Now, why is this entire visit so significant? Firstly, it's a rare global South endorsement, meaning that most of the world, especially the developing world, has turned sharply against Israel since October 7th, 2023 and the subsequent war in Gaza. Very few global South leaders have actually visited Netanyahu. Modi's visit is a powerful sort of counter-narrative that is being built. It signals that India is willing to be distinct from the crowd, even at a diplomatic risk. That was point number 1. What is point number 2? Breaking Israel's isolation narrative as well. Okay, Netanyahu has used Prime Minister Modi's arrival to pitch a grand vision. The one we spoke about, what he calls a hexagon of alliances linking India, Israel, the Arab nations and the African nations, the Mediterranean nations like Greece, Cyprus and the Asian partners. Modi's presence there actually gives Netanyahu exactly the legitimacy boost that he needs on the world stage right now. Then let's go on to point number 3. There is the post-Operation Sindoor context, and this is significant for India because India's 4-day military conflict with Pakistan in May of 2025, you'll remember, changed things. Israeli equipment, including drones, missile defense systems, and even surveillance tech, reportedly, performed well for India during the conflict. And this visit is partly, but also about acknowledging that and deepening that strategic relationship, ensuring that the pipeline keeps going and keeps going strong. And then there is Act number 4, which is what I was asking, our guest there. India's balancing act. Just days before the visit, India actually joined over 100 nations in condemning Israel's expansion in occupied West Bank. The Congress party had called the visit sheer hypocrisy. And yet, India's position has always been complex. It maintains strong ties with both Israel and Palestine, and with both US and Iran. So this visit actually tests that very tightrope walk that India's diplomacy is actually doing at the moment. All right, so that's how things get really interesting over here. Let me go back to our guests on this one because I have a couple of more questions that I want to raise over here. And I want to come directly to artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Jonathan, India just hosted a very, very, powerful AI summit, AI Impact Summit that was called for here just a week ago. A lot of, conversation happened on AI here in New Delhi as well. And Netanyahu has specifically flagged AI and quantum computing as areas of deep cooperation between the two nations as well. In fact, we are expecting a few MOUs being signed on those lines. Do you have any further details on that you can share with us?
Yeah, so there's definitely, there's definitely an expansion of the relationship, I think, to maybe provide our listeners and our viewers with a map of how Israel sees this. Israel has now a march of the next 25 years of its innovation around 6 big topics or scientific vectors, which you can refer to as marks: materials, AI, robotics, quantum computing, synthetic biology, and space exploration. The agenda between Israel and India around space exploration, around quantum, around AI, around material science is a very profound one. It relates to the previous conversation around scale as well. Both countries have the capacity to collaborate around space. Israel is one of 9 countries that launch satellites to space on a vertically integrated technological framework. And Israel recently formed its AI Bureau, National AI Bureau, led by General Erez Askal, one of Israel's most brilliant people, and is now broadening what is called the Pax Silica of the American administration, broadening under that umbrella its relationship with different countries. There is a keen interest that will be part of the visit in forming a unique alliance with India around the AI domain. When it comes to quantum, Israel has a national initiative in that sense. All 6 research universities are heavily invested and involved in that. And so I believe that would also be part of the innovation collaboration agenda.
All right, so that's interesting. A bureau, an AI bureau that has been set up there, which looks at expansion and cooperation. That's interesting to know. Can we also talk a little bit about agriculture? Agriculture, water, and sort of climate technology, very, very central. I remember the last time around the Prime Minister was there, they had taken a walk around the beach. He drank the water, talking about how clean the water is. This is a problem India faces every day. We've constantly been flagging about, issuing, and there has been some participation in the past between the two nations on cleaning up our rivers. Could you give us a sense of what exactly this particular visit plans to expand on when it comes to initiatives on cleaning up the rivers?
So I can't comment on cleaning up the rivers per se, but I will say about agriculture and water, a very important dynamic here. If you look at the region from Syria to Egypt to Iran and other countries, This is an area in desertification. Countries have lost political integrity due to water shortages. Israel in 2005 through 2010, I was then the CTO to the president and was close to those events, decided to make a bet on a desalination technology. We realized that with desertification, there's not going to be political stability within Israel. We are not going to be able to provide clean water for irrigation or for drinking water for ourselves, to our Palestinian neighbors, to our Jordanian neighbors. And Israel embarked on 5 years of transitioning, and this is very profound. 95% of the water we drink today comes from desalination plants, and then we recycle water again. So every drop of water essentially becomes 3 drops of water. We are very keen at collaborating. The private sector between our nations has been very much active around these fields. And I do believe that part of the MOUs and the next generation of discussion of the free trade agreement between India and Israel will address and will facilitate greater economic ties around the agri-tech space, as you've so cleverly identified as a pillar of the next generation of this relationship.
All right, so agri-tech and water technology, water management, that also very central to this entire visit. But that's quite interesting, apart from all the conversation that we'll have on defense as well. I have to thank you there, Jonathan, for joining us and sharing all those insightful details for us. We look forward to chatting again, and we look forward to seeing what that address in Parliament is all about.
With great pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, on that note, we're going to slip into a very quick break. When we come back, news continues. We'll also bring you the all-important story that we flagged off right in the beginning. We're speaking constantly about HPV vaccines for girls. But what about boys? Do they need it too? The answer comes on the other side of the very quick break.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
तुमने नौकरी छोड़ दी, अब आगे क्या प्लान है?
फुल टाइम म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन।
बेटा, इतने में घर कैसे चलेगा?
पापा, मेरे पास 150 क्लाइंट्स ऑलरेडी हैं और नए क्लाइंट्स मिलते रहते हैं। अब नौकरी छोड़कर फुल टाइम म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर ही बनूंगा। आप भी मेरी तरह म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बन सकते हैं। जानिए कैसे? mfdkareshuru.com पर। तो करें शुरू।
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress he stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCERT book Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress. He stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCERT book. Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today. Cutting across to some updates coming in, and this is in regard to the movie Kerala Story 2. High Court has stayed now the release of the film till it decides on the petition against the movie. The court says that apprehensions raised by petitioners are probably genuine. What exactly was this petition all about? Let me cut across to my colleague Anisha. All right, let me cut across my colleague Anisha joining us for more on this. But let me just tell you the context of the entire story in a little bit. So Kerala Story 2 is part 2 of the Kerala Story series that came in earlier. It was said to be extremely inflammatory. There were also allegations that it is said to incite religious sentiments as well. There were several petitions filed in this case. On this very channel, we brought you the detailed interview of the director, the producer of the movie as well. And now with the case in court, the High Court nonetheless looking into it, the court has made its mind very clear. They are saying there will be no release of the film till it decides on the petition against the movie. So stay on Kerala Story 2 till the time the court takes a call on whether or not the apprehensions, which were said to be of being inflammatory, etc., are true or not. Back on your screens right now are excerpts of the trailer that came out of Kerala Story 2. Kerala Story. Shibi Mole joins us for more details on this story. Shibi Mole, for our viewers just joining in, tell us very quickly what exactly was the petition that was filed in the High Court in which they have found merit now?
Sonal, the petition that was filed before the High Court is against this screening of the film, saying that the film intends to malign a state in the country, saying that this is not what is happening in Kerala. The filmmaker has taken accounts from various parts of the country and named the film Kerala Story. So why give a title Kerala Story if the filmmakers are claiming that this is happening across the country? The petitioners also claim that this film the first part of the film has already established a prejudice against Kerala. We are victims of this prejudice, as wherever we go, people perceive things with misunderstanding, and that's because of films like this. This is misinformation and propaganda that's been spread against the state. So the screening of the film should not take place. The film's release should be stalled, is what the petitioners have said, because it maligns the state and also creates prejudice against the state and puts the state in a wrong light. And also said that the petitioners also argue that this is cost division among people. The first part has created a lot of communal polarization and also riots in various parts of the country. So such misunderstanding and also such misinformation against a particular community should be called out. This is not suitable for a country like ours with diverse population. And most specifically, why is it named Kerala Story if the makers are saying that it's not just happening in Kerala but different parts of the country? So these are the main points that the petitioners have raised. In fact, one of the other arguments the petitioners said was about the press meet organized by the makers of the film, saying that these are the victims of the victims that they've referred to in the Kerala Story. So none of these victims are from Kerala. So why name the state, name the film Kerala if none of these victims are from Kerala, is what the petitioners have asked. And that's what the Kerala High Court also said, that the feelings and the emotions of the people of Kerala should be considered.
All right, Shibimol, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. All right, cutting across to some more breaking news. This time it's an update on weight loss drug revolution that's taking place in the country. We're now getting news that Hyderabad-based Dr. Reddy's has applied for a trademark for the generic GLP-1 weight loss drug. It's called Obeda. They have now applied a trademark for Obeda brand and logo. Remember, GLP-1 drugs in the country are hitting, the patent on this is expiring. That means a lot of generics will now be out in the market. Dr. Reddy is now applying for that trademark. Also, the key point here is that they are claiming that the cost will be 60% lower than the existing medicines that are available in the market as well of semaglutide and several other GLP-1 variations. Sneha Mordani joins us for more details on this. Sneha, if 2025 was the year of adoption of GLP-1, 2026 clearly the year when it gets democratized.
Absolutely.
This is just first of the many that we hear of Indian drug companies, the pharmacy of the world, actually taking it to many more people. And when it comes to India, country like ours, it has to be affordable. In fact, Dr. Reddy's not the only one, several other also in the pipeline. Tell us more about how soon we can actually expect these generics hitting the market?
Well, I think as early as March, Sonal, to answer that question simply put, because that's when the patents expire and everybody is moving very swiftly, as you can see. You rightly pointed out there are other companies as well. Cipla, for example, and of course, Dr. Reddy's, then Natco. We'll have more generics in the market. Sun Pharma, I'd like to tell you, also with the cheaper versions of the semaglutide, otherwise known as Ozempic, really, and that's what is going to break the monopoly. The very fact that the patents expire, costs will come down in a big way. 60 to 70% is what we are hearing. Some even say up to 90%, which means there will be more medicines available in the market and at a cheaper cost. Accessibility improves in a big way. It ends the monopoly. It's also in perfect line with what the World Health Organization has said about making these weight loss drugs accessible, because at the end of the day, the reiteration really is that obesity isn't a choice, It's not a lifestyle problem. It is very much a disease, just like any other disease, and it should be dealt with as such. So good news as far as accessibility is concerned, with many more companies now looking at launching the generic versions. India is already the generic medicine capital and the pharmacy of the world in that sense. So what I'm expecting at this point in time is that there would be many more players who would be jumping in and in fact launching these medicines that become quickly accessible to a lot of people living it. Of course, the rate of obesity only going up further, and of course of diabetes as well in the country, and at a time when there is stress on making this accessible, this comes as great news.
Right. So this news means what for general people here in India? It means that weight loss injections and even pills now will go beyond just elite clinics.
Yes.
will go beyond just tier 1 cities, English-speaking, affordable audience cities, but actually to hinterlands where we also see the battle of obesity being fought. As Sneha also pointed out, Dr. Reddy's is not the one. We are hearing of companies like Sun Pharma as well coming out with their own generics. And of course, you have Cipla's Your Peak that has already launched in India. Thank you so much, Sneha, for joining us with all those details on the story. But let's stick on with the theme of medicine and health for some time. The HPV vaccine in India. The HPV vaccine in India has begun with already adolescent girls aged between 19 to 13. It's a landmark public health move aimed at reducing cervical cancer, a disease for which India accounts for nearly 1/3 of the global burden. But the question I'm making you think tonight is this. HPV, is it only for the girls? Does the virus impact only the girls? Well, HPV is the most common sexually transmitted infection worldwide. It spreads through skin-to-skin contact. Most people never really know that they have it as well. In women, it causes cervical cancer. In men, it can cause cancers like throat, mouth, tongue, penis, and also the anus. Globally, HPV-related throat cancer in men are rising. In the United States alone, about 20,000 men are diagnosed with HPV-linked cancers each year. But here's the sort of epidemiological challenge here. If boys are not vaccinated, they remain part of the transmission chain. Even high coverage among girls does not fully, we are made to understand, interpret circulation of the virus in large male population, which remain unprotected. That is why more than 50 countries, including the US, UK, Australia, Canada, Germany, vaccinate both boys and girls. Australia actually introduced gender-neutral vaccination in 2013, and since then, HPV infection rates dropped by over 90%. The science on this is pretty clear. Vaccination before exposure, ideally between the age group of 9 to 13, providing the strongest protection. The vaccine has been used globally for over decades and has strong safety and effectiveness data as well. So the real question is not whether HPV sort of causes cancer or helps in restraining cancer in men. Of course it does. The question is whether we see HPV vaccination as cervical cancer prevention alone or cancer prevention for all children. But remember, this is not medical advice at all. Please go to your own pediatrician, go to the doctor you take your kids to and ask them if your boys need it too. Remember, for any effectiveness of HPV vaccine, because some of them are expensive when available in the private market, it has to be between the age group of 9 to 13. So it's the preteens that one has to hit before exposure. So next time you visit a pediatrician, do ask them if your boys need it too. All right, with that, an action-packed episode of 5 Live comes to an end. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Introducing Motorola's signature.
तुमने नौकरी छोड़ दी, अब आगे क्या प्लान है?
फुल टाइम म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन।
बेटा, इतने में घर कैसे चलेगा?
पापा, मेरे पास 150 क्लाइंट्स ऑलरेडी हैं और नए क्लाइंट्स मिलते रहते हैं। अब नौकरी छोड़कर फुल टाइम म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर ही बनूंगा। आप भी मेरी तरह म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बन सकते हैं। जानिए कैसे? mfdkareshuru.com पर। तो करें शुरू।
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress. He stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCERT book. Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. Trump claims in US Congress. He stopped nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Supreme Court expresses concern over judicial corruption content in NCERT book. Rashmika Mandanna, Vijay Deverakonda to wed in Udaipur. Mehendi today.
बहुत शर्म की बात है कि ये शांतिपूर्ण आंदोलन करने में भी आपको परेशानी होती है, तानाशाह को परेशानी होती है। तानाशाह को किसी ने आईना दिखाया तो वो उसको जेल डाल देगा। हम ये जानना चाहते हैं कि क्या पुलवामा के आतंकी सारे गिरफ्तार हो गए? क्या पहलगाम हमले के सारे आतंकी गिरफ्तार हो गए? क्या लाल किले ब्लास्ट के सारे आतंकी गिरफ्तार हो गए? एक टी शर्ट उतारने से आप इतना डर जाते हो, देश में आतंकी हमले हो जाते हैं और आप गिरफ्तारी नहीं कर पाते हो। ये इस सरकार की असलियत है।
ये बब्बर शेर नहीं है राहुल गांधी, ये नेशनल शेम है। पर आज एक बात स्पष्ट है कि ये जो किया गया एआई समिट पर भारत मंडपम में, ये कोई 4-5 लोगों की कारस्थान नहीं थी। ये डीप कॉन्स्पिरेसी थी जिसमें राहुल गांधी स्वयं और उनके बाकी कांग्रेस के वरिष्ठ नेता इस षड्यंत्र का हिस्सा थे।
Co-powered by all new MG Hector. Geo BP fuel with active technology.
Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching Super 6 here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, back after a brief break to get you all the top stories that we're tracking this evening. As always, we'll focus on the big South stories of the day. We'll be talking about Prime Minister Modi's visit to Madurai that's happening over the weekend. But the big headline and the big talking point is that the Prime Minister, in all likelihood, will be visiting the contentious Tiruparankundram temple, the Deepam controversy. Amid that, the BJP putting the focus on it, with the Prime Minister himself, in all likelihood, visiting that temple this weekend. Also coming up on the show, the other big political headline that's emerged from Tamil Nadu. Sasikala, who's been off the political radar for the last many months, seems to be looking at making a comeback, a solo comeback this time. While there's been endless speculation on which side she'll go, Sasikala now has decided to launch her own political party. The timing is something everyone's talking about. What exactly is her political strategy? And the fact that while her nephew's chosen to side with the NDA, she's launched her own political party. That's got everyone talking. We'll break down for you what really Sasikala's political party plunge actually means and much more. Coming your way, we begin with the top 10 headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Israel for a crucial two-day visit, a first since the Gaza war began. Prime Minister Modi got a red carpet welcome with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu personally welcoming the Prime Minister with a namaste, even joking about Modi's saffron pocket square matching his wife's outfit. After NCERT's new Class 8 book listed corruption in judiciary, massive backlog as challenges, preparations are underway to remove the portion that sparked controversy. Government sources say the portion will be removed, and this comes after the Chief Justice of India, CJI Suryakant, reportedly stressed that the court won't allow anyone to defame the institution. Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Madurai on March 1st, likely to offer prayers at the Murugan temple at Tiruparankundram amid the Deepam controversy. The DMK is hit out, saying Prime Minister's repeated visits may actually result in a big defeat for the NDA. Expelled AIADMK leader Sashikala floats a new party ahead of polls. She unveils the party flag that features portraits of Annadurai, MGR and Jayalalitha. TTV Dinakaran, her nephew, mocks Sashikala's political party launch, likening it to instant sambar in Italy. Hours after 7 people lost their lives in the Jharkhand air tragedy, shocking details emerged. The airline, in fact, that was operating at the Redbird Airways Private Limited, Beechcraft C-90 that crashed in Jharkhand had no black box. According to civil aviation rules, cockpit voice recorders or flight data recordings are not mandated for aircraft with a maximum takeoff weight below 5,700 kgs. And moving on, in Goa, Asagaon, a speeding Thar rammed into a car, killing a 65-year-old tourist from Bhopal on the spot. The video shows the accused stepping out moments after the crash. Eyewitnesses claim there was an attempt to switch seats after the accident. Days after 3 women from Arunachal Pradesh were racially abused in Delhi's Malviya Nagar, the accused woman has been arrested. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta has also met the victims and has assured strict action. In a setback for the Kerala Story 2 filmmakers, the Kerala High Court has put a stay on the release of the contentious movie for now, citing that the grievances by the complainants appear genuine. There will be no release of the film till the court decides on the petition. Bill Gates has apologized to the Gates Foundation staff over Epstein ties, says it was a huge mistake. In fact, Gates has also told employees during a town hall that he did nothing illicit and saw nothing illicit, but confirms that he was in a relationship with 2 Russian women. Pakistan's Ops Sindoor lies have been busted by none other than Donald Trump, who revealed that the Pakistan Prime Minister pleaded to stop the war. The US President in the State of the Union address said the Pakistan Prime Minister pleaded, saying 35 million people will die. And so he said again that he stopped the India-Pakistan war. Our top focus on Super 6 is Prime Minister Modi's upcoming visit to Madurai. Tamil Nadu's political battlefield is once again alit with faith and fervour, something you don't usually see in Tamil Nadu politics. But we've been seeing that Deepam controversy and the BJP putting the spotlight on it. Amid that, Prime Minister Modi, who's set to visit Madurai, could also go ahead and visit the Tiruparankundram temple on March 1st. And what that will mean is a huge escalation in the fight over what happened at the temple months ago. The DMK repeatedly has said that there have been attempts to stoke religious tensions, communal tensions. And that's what they're maintaining even now, that with the Prime Minister visiting, there's only going to be a bigger setback for the NDA. But it's very clear, really, what the strategy of the BJP is. They're going to raise this issue, and you've been seeing multiple photo optics as far as Lord Murugan is concerned by the BJP. It's in line with that in all likelihood, the Prime Minister will be visiting this temple.
Amid the raging Deepam controversy over lighting the Kartigai Deepam lamp atop the Tiruparankundram hill in Madurai, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to offer prayers at the Murugan temple during his March 1 visit to Madurai. Sources say he will spend up to 30 minutes at the hill shrine before launching major development projects. The BJP is positioning itself as the defender of devotees' rights, accusing the DMK of hurting Tamil cultural heritage and indulging in vote bank politics.
भगवान मुरुगन के दीप को लेकर एक विवाद खड़ा किया गया तो हमारे नेताओं ने भक्तों के अधिकारों के लिए आवाज उठाने का काम किया, लेकिन डीएमके और इनके साथियों ने वोट बैंक को खुश करने के लिए कोई तक को नहीं छोड़ा, कोर्ट को भी उन्होंने बदनाम किया।
BJP leader K. Annamalai said that Prime Minister Modi has a special focus on Tamil Nadu, promising accelerated growth if the AIADMK-led alliance comes to power.
தமிழகத்தை பொறுத்தவரை நம்முடைய முதலமைச்சர் சண்டை போடுவதற்காகவே இங்கு ஆட்சி நடத்துறார். தேசிய ஜனநாயக கூட்டணியுடைய ஆட்சி ஏப்ரல் மாதத்தில் வரும் பொழுது மத்திய அரசோடு இணக்கமாக இருக்கும் பொழுது நம்முடைய வேகம் என்பது இன்னும் வீரியமாக இருக்கும். அதை நம்ம நல்லா புரிஞ்சுக்கணுங்க. முதலாக ஒரு ஆட்சி மத்திய அரசோடு இணக்கமாக தமிழகத்தில் இருக்க போகுது.
Chief Minister M.K. Stalin hit back, describing the NDA as a zero alliance.
நம்ம திராவிட மாடல் சூப்பர் ஃபாஸ்ட் இன்ஜின்
11.19% இரட்டை இலக்க வளர்ச்சியோட யாரும் எட்டி பிடிக்க முடியாத அளவுக்கு அதிவேகமா முன்னாடி போயிட்டு இருக்கு. திராவிட மாடல் 2.2 ஆட்சி தான் மீண்டும் அமையும். இப்போ நாங்க செஞ்சிருக்கக்கூடிய சாதனையில எங்களுடைய செகண்ட் இன்னிங்ஸை நாங்கள் மிஞ்சுவோம்.
And adding fuel to the fire, State Minister Thiagarajan slammed the BJP, calling Gujarat the best corruption model.
அடுத்த குற்றச்சாட்டு நம்ம சுர்ஜித் பல்லா சொன்ன உடனே நான் கேட்டேன், ஏங்க எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு இந்தியாவிலேயே சிறந்த ஊழல் மாடல்னா அது குஜராத் மாடல் தான் இருந்தது. அதை நீங்கள் எங்கள்கிட்ட வந்து சொல்கிறீங்க நீங்கள் குஜராத்தோட சிறப்பாக நடத்துகிறீங்கன்னா எனக்கு புரியவே இல்லை. அப்போது அது இந்த தமிழ்நாடு மாத்திரம் சொல்ல அவர் சொல்கிறார் எல்லா தென் மாநிலங்களும் வளர்றதுக்கு என்ன காரணம், நீங்கள் ஊழல் சிறப்பாக செய்கிறீங்கன்னு. ஆக்சுவலாக தென் மாநிலங்கள் வளர்றதுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு காரணம்
Faith, politics and pride. Tamil Nadu's battle lines are drawn ahead of assembly elections. With Pramod Madhav and Anagha in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
So with the Prime Minister set to visit Madurai on March 1st, second such visit really in the last few weeks that we've seen by the Prime Minister, and clearly the BJP is focusing on the Prime Minister's campaign to kind of boost their chances in this election. There's also a big question mark on whether this is the right strategy. I'll bring in Dr. Sumansi Raman, political analyst on this broadcast. We have Kasturi Shankar, BJP leader. We'll also have Salem Dharnidharan, spokesperson of the DMK, with us shortly. But I'd like to begin with Sumansi Raman on what you make, sir, of this particular development of the Prime Minister visiting Madurai, yes, but also set to visit the Tirupara temple. Is this the right strategy in a state that very often many have opined doesn't mix politics and religion?
So far, Akshita, BJP has not raised the tempo on the Tiruparankundram issue to the extent one thought they would, considering an election is less than 2 months away. Initially, they did, but after that, there has been a lull, possibly because the Deepam can only be lit around the time of Kartigay, which is, sometime in the month of November. So until then, it is understandable that they are quiet. But that the Prime Minister would, in the course of the election campaign, visit Tiruparankundram was something that was expected, especially after the controversy broke out. So it will be more a political visit than a religious visit. And clearly he will use it. But you see, initial days, it did look like this issue would have traction. But over the last month or so, the issue has cooled down. And today, I don't know whether the Prime Minister going to Tiruparankundram will be able to, create that emotional connect and get people back to sort of thinking seriously about what the DMK has done on this issue. I agree what the DMK has done is totally wrong. But whether it will have electoral resonance at this point of time, I'm not too sure.
Kasturi Shankar, I'll bring you in on that. What is the BJP's thinking here of kind of reigniting this entire controversy around this temple? As Sumansi Raman said, at one point, yes, it was a heated political debate. But is this really the right strategy going into an election for the BJP to put the focus on this temple, to have even the Prime Minister visit? What's the message here?
I find it a little bit ridiculous that you are trying to look for a story where there is none. This is not the first temple that Prime Minister Modi would have visited, be there an election or not. I mean,
let me then explain it to you, Kasturi. The reason it's a story and not a non-story is if the Prime Minister had visited, sure, the Madurai Meenakshi temple, it would have been something that, yes, was a course of discussion. Here's a temple that we've seen a controversy over, a legal fight playing out, an ongoing legal battle as well. So surely there's messaging involved.
No, I find this conspiracy theory from you, for want of a better word, quite comic actually, because Prime Minister Modi has visited the Meenakshi temple. He has visited several temples in Tamil Nadu itself. Just last year, he visited so many temples, Karni Mata temple, the ISKCON Madan Mohanji. Let me finish. Madan Mohanji temple in Navi Mumbai. There are no elections coming anywhere there. So to say that he cannot visit the Tiruparamkundram temple.
No one's saying he can't, Kasturi. No one's saying he can't. I'm asking the messaging. Are you suggesting there's zero messaging? Are you saying that by chance the Prime Minister is going to Tiruparamkundram and nothing beyond that?
I am saying that all of us, the people of Tiruparamkundram, the people of Madurai have been inviting him for months now to come and visit the temple. That notwithstanding, I'm saying that you are looking for a conspiracy theory where there is none. Are you saying that the Prime Minister cannot visit the temple? Because if he does, it is only messaging.
I don't know what is a conspiracy theory. Kasturi Shankar, I don't know what is a conspiracy theory in me saying what is the messaging. I don't know how that's a conspiracy theory for me to merely ask you what is the messaging of the Prime Minister going to a temple, the Tiruparamkundram temple.
The message is that in a land, in a state that is being now ruled by people who have openly asked for the eradication of Sanatana Dharma, the Prime Minister, in all his humility and respect and bhakti, is coming to have a darshan of the same deity which has been in controversy. The messaging is that he is an astika. What he stands for, what the BJP stands for, I don't think it is a political or party visit. Sure. It's a personal visit, but that's it. The message is that the Prime Minister of our country, our beloved Narendra Modi, believes and is not ashamed of proclaiming his faith, as opposed to people who secretly go to temples and then come out and talk about destroying the religion.
Okay, I'm glad you've spoken about it. This was my only question to you. What was the messaging? So there's no conspiracy theory whatsoever that any of us are peddling here.
You said it's an election messaging, and I don't think that you
can't discount the fact that there's an election coming up. Salem Dhanidharan, spokesperson of the DMK, is also with us. Dhanidharan, this is an issue that the DMK has found itself very often on the back foot on, because even legally, this didn't work out in your favor. With the Prime Minister visiting now, is this a matter of concern that once again this issue is going to be in the spotlight?
The issue is in the spotlight or not in the spotlight does not matter, because this does not play out electorally in Tamil Nadu or in any other manner. People of Tamil Nadu want political parties to keep religion away and then focus on development. Focus on giving good quality education, good quality healthcare, giving good civil amenities and many other things. And because the Prime Minister have no development to show, it has become his template to use religion or temple. This has been the template from across since 2014. This has no place in Tamil Nadu. My Chief Minister is garnering votes or asking for support in the election through what he has done. The 11.9% growth he has given. The record high number of FDI growth Tamil Nadu has achieved. The number of startups that has been created in Tamil Nadu, which is 3 times more than what happened in the preceding 10 years. So this is what my Chief Minister is going and asking votes for. He's saying or rather on the schemes that he has introduced to uplift the poor and the downtrodden. That doesn't mean that my party is against any religion. We are not against any religion. Just that we don't bring spirituality into politics. BJP only to bring about temple-related issues or religion-related issues into electoral fold only backfire and will reduce their vote percentage, and also take ADMK also behind in this by doing this. In Tamil Nadu, this doesn't have a role.
So this is the challenge. Kasturi Shankar, the DMK is saying constantly that this kind of politics doesn't work in Tamil Nadu. That while the DMK is putting the focus on what the growth numbers on, here's what the BJP is putting the focus on Tiruparamkundram, these religious controversies.
I actually agree with Mr. Dharanidharan that the election will be fought not necessarily on religious grounds, but on the actual governance that we have witnessed in the last 5 years. He talked about civic amenities and all the growth schemes and but he noticeably left out law and order and women's safety, which are, I think, the core issues that this election will be fought on. The women of Tamil Nadu are dead scared about having to deal with DMK and its goons for another 5 years. As far as civil amenities are concerned, please, it is taking me all my effort to not burst into peals of laughter. I really commend Mr. Dharanidharan on keeping a poker face while even bringing that up. Everybody knows now they don't have. See, he also didn't talk about the aims in Madurai. He didn't have that anymore because he cannot talk about that anymore because that is already done. All the promises that the center gave are being implemented with great alacrity, as opposed to the promises that the DMK
the
gave.
immediate counter
out
that
of
will
which
come up is about airports in Tamil Nadu, is about the metro projects. I know it. This is almost like a script that's playing out. Dharan.
No, see, when I said it will be based on growth, I did not go and mention every aspect of growth
growth
they
of
achieved.
lawlessness, growth of ganja.
Let me speak. Where is growth of lawlessness, Akshita? You go and look at NCRB data yourself or any other data and survey that is done. The top 5 worst states for women in the country are BJP rule state. Ironically, I don't know if it's a coincidence or it is by design. Or overall law and order, the worst states in India, the top 5 out of the top 5 worst states, the 4 are BJP rule states. Under DMK, the women's safety has improved. At least I can quote 3 surveys where Tamil Nadu ranks number 1 for women's safety and women empowerment. You may show anecdotal evidence of 1 or 2 crimes. Of course, I can't justify any of that. But having said that, when it comes to 100,000 people, Tamil Nadu remains the safest city and town for women. That no one can deny it. And also, when coming to other achievement, the government has done it in spite of BJP not giving us the money. I didn't want to get into that because how many times would I say it? It is understood.
Yeah.
But the primary point is that the election would be won only based on the development that we have done, the schemes that we have shown. If at all BJP wants to have an electoral chance, what they have to do is how is that they will do better or show a role model state where they have done much better in those 4.5 years than in Tamil Nadu. That is how they can win, not by religion was my major point.
No. So Dr. Sumansi Raman, what do you make of what's playing out right now? I'm glad that the conversation is about law and order. I'm glad the conversation is about the Tamil Nadu economy. But coming up in a few days from now, when the Prime Minister touches down in Madurai, ultimately the biggest headline is going to be if he visits the Tiruparakundram temple or not. And in such a situation, do you think that this is the right strategy for the BJP to be following in a state like Tamil Nadu, when it's not really earned them dividends before?
No, I'm not too sure that they'll get very far with the Tiruparangundram issue, particularly because there is no immediate action on that issue to come up with it before the election. In fact, if they focused on law and order is genuinely a problem. Huge number of custodial deaths. In fact, even last week there was another custodial death. And you remember when the AIDMK was in power, the death of Jairaj and Penix in Sathangulam, they brought this, the DMK then in the opposition brought the state to a standstill. Rightly so. I'm not criticizing them for that. There have been, I think, 26 or 28 custodial deaths in the last 3-4 years. And, forget law and order is a major issue. In fact, if the BJP focuses on bread and butter issues like this, then definitely they stand a better chance than to go up the Tiruparangundram, mountain. Of course, the Prime Minister is free to have a darshan there, but I don't see that as a major political issue because there is no actionable item to actually take place before the election. If there was, it would have been a different issue altogether.
Okay, all right. Dr. Sumansi Raman Kasturi and Salem Dharanidharan, thank you for your time, for joining us here on India Today. March 1st is when the Prime Minister is going to be in Tamil Nadu. The BJP has said this is going to be a big NDA show of strength. So you'll have all of the allies coming together for this particular event. There is also that visit to the temple that everyone's going to be talking about. But why is this so crucial? Why is this such a big talking point? From a few months ago, we've had the Tiruparakundram temple become national headlines. And I explained to you why that is. What is this Deepam controversy? There's been a massive showdown playing out in Tamil Nadu over the last many days over the lighting of a lamp in a temple in Madurai. This is over the Tiruparakundram temple in Madurai, where quote to what exactly happened. Let me begin with the temple itself. It's located atop a hillock and is the abode of Lord Murugan. So scores of Murugan devotees visit this holy temple. It's called the Subramanya Swami temple. Now, interestingly, right besides this temple is a dargah, just slightly above the temple itself. And the two structures have coexisted for centuries now, a symbol of religious coexistence. So what led to this sudden controversy now? Essentially over a festival called Kartikai Deepam. It's a massive festival that's celebrated in Tamil Nadu for Hindus, and on this day, deepams or lamps are lit across temples and in homes. Tiruparakundram also sees a huge event on this day. 100 years ago, the lamp atop a Deepathoon was lit. What's a Deepatun? It's a tall lamppost pillar traditionally used for lighting ceremonial lamps during festivals and special rituals. But in this temple, this pillar is very close to the dargah and hasn't been used or lit for the last many decades. Why? Because it was decided that the Deepatun, being so close to the dargah, won't be lit to avoid any communal tension. This pillar is very much in the temple premises, but just about 50 meters from the dargah, and so wasn't lit. And so for the last 100 years or so, the Deepam was lit at another location, near the Ganesha temple, which very often in Tamil Nadu, including in this case, is called the Uchi Pillayar temple. This year, however, things changed. A petition was filed before the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court seeking to light a lamp at the Deepatun this time. On December 1st, the court allowed these petitions. The judge, Justice G.R. Swaminathan, held that Deepatun lies on the portion of the hill belonging to the temple and not the dargah. The court explicitly rejected objections that lighting the lamp would harm or infringe the rights of the nearby dargah or Muslim community and directed that from this year onward, the Deepam must be lit at the Deepatun in addition to the customary place, which was the Pillayar temple, as I told you. But despite the order, on December 3rd, there was no arrangement made to light the lamp at Deepatun on the festival night. Instead, the temple authorities lit the Deepam at the traditional location. This sparked protests by Hindu groups. In response, the court initiated contempt proceedings. It allowed the petitioner and a small group with CISF personnel to ascend the hill to light the lamp at the Deepatun. But police and administration blocked their path, citing law and order. So they prohibited that attempt under security orders. Now the case is currently on, but the DMK government has maintained that allowing the lamp to be lit will lead to a law and order situation.
இதெல்லாம் உள்ளூர் மக்களுக்கு உண்மையா பக்தர்களுக்கு நல்லா தெரியும். அவங்க எல்லாம் நல்லபடியா தரிசனம் பண்ணிட்டு தான் வீட்டுக்கு போனாங்க. ஆனாலும் இப்ப என்ன காரணத்துக்காக பிரச்சனை நடக்குது? இந்த பிரச்சனையை கிளப்புற கூட்டத்தோட நோக்கம் என்ன? இதுவும் மக்களுக்கு எல்லாம் தெரியும். ஒரு சிலரோட அரசியல் லாபங்களுக்காக பிரிவுகளையும் பிளவுகளையும் உண்டாக்கி சமூகத்தை துண்டாடும் சதி செயல்கள், அது நிச்சயமா ஆன்மீகம் அல்ல, அது அரசியல். அதுல கேடுகட்ட மலிவான அரசியல்.
The DMK has also initiated an impeachment motion against the judge. With the signatures of 120 MPs, DMK MPs have pushed for the impeachment of Justice G.R. Swaminathan, claiming he didn't act impartially, that he favors advocates of a particular community, and that he was deciding cases on the basis of a particular political ideology. This impeachment motion has sparked a political storm with claims that the DMK is targeting judges who give verdicts that aren't favorable to the government. And the showdown, therefore, over the lighting of a lamp in this temple has become the biggest talking point, with just months to go for elections in Tamil Nadu. Okay, the other big headline coming in from Tamil Nadu is that expelled AIADMK leader V.K. Sashikala, she is referred to as Chinnamma very often, has floated her own political party. It came as a huge surprise because there were so many questions about what Sashikala is up to. There were some hints that she would follow her nephew T.T.V. Dinakaran's course and back the NDA, at least issue a statement. Instead, she's gone ahead and announced the formation of a new party. She's not really announced the name of the party, but unveiled a party flag that had the pictures of Anna, MGR and Jayalalitha. T.T.V. Dinakaran, her nephew, has lashed out, saying very clearly that this will not work, that everyone is on his side, his party, the AMMK. He also drew a parallel between starting a new party and making instant idli and sambar. T.T.V. Dinakaran said he would expose the true colours of those using Jayalalitha's name. Because remember, for Sashikala, it's always been about the legacy fight. And the biggest factor that goes in her favour is the fact that she was always seen as the closest aide to Sashikala, to Jayalalitha. Now, at this point, she's clearly made it clear that she's following the principles of MGR, Anna and Amma. Nothing beyond that is known. Will she contest? Will her party be a part of the upcoming elections? We don't have any of those details just yet, but the timing of Sashikala's political plunge of her launching this party is something that's leading to a whole lot of questions.
அதாவது அமமுக அதிமுக தான் 99.9% தொண்டர்கள் ஓரணியில் இணைந்து விட்டோம். மற்றவர்கள் சுதந்திர இந்தியாவில் ஜனநாயக நாட்டில் யாருடைய விருப்பம் எது வென்றாலும் செய்யலாம். அதனால யாரும் ஏதோ தொடங்கலாம். திடீர் சாம்பார், திடீர் இட்லி மாதிரி நான் சொல்றேன். அது மாதிரி திடீர் கட்சிகள் வரலாம். அம்மாவின் ஆட்சி அமைப்போம், அம்மாவின் கட்சியை ஒன்றிணைப்போம் என்று சொன்னவர்கள் அவர்கள் சாயம் வெளுக்கின்ற நேரம் வந்திருக்கு.
புதிய களத்தை காணப்போகிறோம். ஒரு புதிய கட்சியை ஆரம்பிக்க போகிறோம். இது ஒரு திராவிட கட்சியாக பேரறிஞர் அண்ணா, புரட்சி தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆர், புரட்சி தலைவி அம்மா ஆகியோரின் வழியில் ஏழை எளிய சாமானிய மக்களுக்கான ஒரு கட்சியாக எதிரிகளையும் துரோகிகளையும் வேறறுக்கின்ற ஒரு கட்சியாக இது செயல்படும். நமது கட்சியின் கொடியை இங்கே அறிமுகப்படுத்துவதில் மிகவும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறேன். இது கருப்பு, வெள்ளை, சிவப்பு வண்ணத்தில் பேரறிஞர் அண்ணா, புரட்சி தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆர், புரட்சி தலைவி அம்மா ஆகியோரின் உருவத்தை தாங்கி நிற்கின்ற ஒரு கொடியாக பட்டொளி வீசி பறக்கும். கட்சியின் பெயரை மட்டும் விரைவில் அறிவிக்கிறேன். இதில் எந்தவித மாற்று கருத்துக்கும் இடமில்லை என்பதை அனைவருக்கும் உறுதியோடு தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். களம் காண்போம், நம் இருவரும் தலைவர்களின் பொற்கால ஆட்சியை அமைப்போம்.
Definitely she has certain followings because of her money in the party had benefited earlier when Jayalalitha was there. So those people may be loyal to her.